please, 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 give this man his Oscar already! Who says nothing good comes out in January? Well, okay, technically it didn't really come out in January. It had a limited Christmas time release, which means it's still technically a 2015 movie, but hey, who cares? Now, this movie has finally been released all over, and it is incredible. It may not really be on the same level of audience pleasing like, say, Fury Road or Ant-Man or, dare I say, Grandma, but it is a spectacular film that is truly Oscar-worthy. And not just for the obvious person who really deserves an Oscar for this. Yeah, in case it's not painfully obvious, I am a fan of Leonardo DiCaprio. I find him to be an incredibly talented, amazingly intelligent, and wonderfully professional actor. I thought he deserved an Oscar nod for Django Unchained, and I definitely thought he deserved an Oscar nod for Catch Me If You Can. And him getting constantly snubbed or nominated but not winning has just been annoying me for as long as I can remember. But after seeing this movie and hearing about all the stuff he had to put up with, can the Academy please give him a break? Okay, so the story is partially based upon the life and times of a famous mountain explorer named Hugh Glass, played by Leonardo DiCaprio. During an expedition, he gets mauled by a bear and then left for dead by one of his fellow expeditioners, John Fitzgerald, played by Tom Hardy. Oh, and in the process, John Fitzgerald killed Hugh Glass's son. So now, after rising from a shallow grave, Hugh Glass must survive the odds and the wilderness and avenge his son. Now, I'm not very big on historical accuracy or lack thereof, because in my opinion, movies had to be judged on their own merits alone. However, I have been told that the real Hugh Glass did not have a son, much less a son who was partially Native American, so do with that what you will. Okay, now I've obviously already gone on about how incredible Leonardo DiCaprio was and that he definitely deserves an Oscar for this. But it's not just his acting that made it that amazing. It's everything he does in this movie. Leonardo DiCaprio depicts a man surviving the wilderness. And I mean raw wilderness. Swimming through cold rivers, surviving animal attacks, eating raw fish, trying to gain the strength to get up and walk after getting mauled by a frickin' bear, and just toughing through everything that the wilderness throws at him. The film was directed by Alejandro... the guy who did Birdman. And it was photographed by the same cinematographer. So as you would probably expect, there are a good number of long takes, and they are done beautifully. But aside from Leonardo DiCaprio's tremendous acting and Alejandro's very well done direction, the cinematography deserves a very special nod, especially from me. Why? Because this film is a marvel of cinematography. Please allow me to explain why. The film was shot on the Alexa 65, which for those of you who don't know, is a high-end digital cinema camera with a sensor that is very, very large. If you imagine most digital cinema cameras have a sensor about the size of a postage stamp, this camera has a sensor the size of a playing card. And as such, it is able to see things with a lot more clarity and a lot more detail. Colors are sharper, and it is more sensitive to light. And using this camera, this film was shot using only available light, as in they didn't use any artificial light kits at all. They did use some lighting tools like reflectors and so on, but for the most part, the way you see it on screen is exactly the way it was when they shot it. It's especially more impressive when you consider where they shot it. It was filmed around various parts of Canada where they had, at most, about 6 hours of sunlight per day. And of course, unsurprisingly, it has very fluid direction. It never feels too intense and it never feels too quiet. It has a very good flow. It knows when it needs to be crazy intense, and it knows when it needs to calm down to let the audience catch your breath. Between this and Birdman, I think we can expect amazing things from this duo. I cannot recommend this film highly enough. If you haven't seen it yet, please see it, and please don't wait for it to come out on DVD. This deserves to be seen in theaters. Okay, so what's next on our review list? I'm so scared. Ladies and gentlemen, I am TheNorm. Thanks for watching.